Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video on the Skullsword channel, and it's all about Fury of Dracula. I'm so hyped for this. We have a brand new announcement of a Fury of Dracula tournament for you, and I'll go through all the details. I won't take up too much of your time, but I'm going to tell you all the important stuff, and if you're interested in competing, we'd love to see you over in the community server for Discord, and with all the hype of this tournament. So excited. Okay, so let's get into this. The new tournament is called Duos and Dark Halls, and we'll get into the naming of that in a second. But yeah, basically, it's going to be our competition for spring. Sorry, that's a very Northern Hemisphere centric idea of the world, but never mind. Sorry about that. For the early part of 2025, let's say. So after we had the very intense World Championship League of Dracula, which always takes place in the second half of the year. We often run a tournament in the spring, but a slightly more sort of we're trying to aim for slightly more laid back, even though people will be taking it seriously, of course, a slightly more laid back experience. And we're actually going to be following a format that we started last year. So not it was the same it was a little bit later in the spring last year. We ran a tournament called the Immortal Invitational. Now some of you might not know about it, even though I did upload videos and stuff, but you maybe didn't see it publicized beforehand because we kept it very in-house. This was because during this time Nomad Games, in collaboration with the community, were releasing and working on the Immortal update, which is this huge update to the game, sorting out rule implementation issues and bugs, and improving the user interface and all that good stuff. And we wanted to put the Immortal update, because it was in a beta form at that point, we wanted to put it through its paces. So we quickly organized an in-house tournament in order to test it out. In order to try to incorporate as many people as possible, we sort of flipped the format a little bit and we made it a team tournament. So even though everyone was still playing 1v1 games, the individual results were actually contributing to a team score. So everyone was ranked in the league for their team, not individually. So something we had never done before. And yeah, after I think I can't remember how many games there were in total, but several weeks, we put the update for its paces. The reason why we didn't publicize it much at the time was just because we didn't want to have the sort of the complication of newer players coming into the community to play in this tournament, and then suddenly finding that maybe because of the beta there were unexpected bugs and all this sort of thing which were affecting games. In the end, actually, there weren't many games affected by bugs, but we didn't know that at the time. And we also didn't know sort of the response time that Nomad Games could provide, whether in reality they were really on top of it, and the minute that we were reporting bugs, they were getting fixed very quickly. So it all went very smoothly in the end, but we didn't know that at the time. So anyway, we kept it all very in-house. We had, I think, 12 players in total, and so we had 6 teams competing. And even though it's the Immortal update has been published and all that good stuff for several months now, we really like the format of a team tournament. It sort of brings a slightly different vibe, and we thought, well, let's make it hopefully an annual event, but we'll change the name and we'll change the rules and stuff for each time. So it's back basically. So yeah, so the way the tournament's going to work, and similar to the Immortal Invitational last year, as I said, everyone was still playing in 1v1 games. When it says team tournament, that might sort of bring up the idea of, oh, we're going to be playing, 2v1 or 3v1 or something. And that would be lovely. But the issue is because we're trying to organize it, taking into account international time zone differences and different working schedules, and then also language barriers and technology and stuff, it's just easier to organize 1v1 games. So we're keeping that format of 1v1. So if you're playing as the hunters, the hunter player has to control all 4 hunters. But as I said, the individual results are contributing to a team score, and every team is made up of 2 players. Now, within your team, you can decide between yourself and your teammate how you're going to organize yourselves in terms of who plays which role. In the tournament last year, there were teams that, like the team I was in, where I always played as hunters and my teammate always played as Dracula because that's what we decided to do. There were some teams that alternated every week just so that they could practice with the different roles and sort of test out the update and stuff. There were other teams that alternated roles based upon their opponents. They were strategizing a little bit and trying to work out, well, which sort of configuration of opponents and role selection would give us the best advantage. it's up to you. With your teammate, you can do it however you want. And also the makeup of the teams, right? We're going to have a real mixture here of two experienced players going together because maybe they're in a team last year together, or they want to try and join forces and use their combined strength to win. We could easily have it where an experienced player takes a newer player under their wing and tries to guide them through it. Or maybe just two newcomers will come to the community and say, "We're going to take you all on, right?" And they'll take the community by storm. Who knows, right? So this tournament, even though it will be serious in the sense we're going to try our best to win and everything, is more informal. So if the teams end up being a little bit imbalanced in this sense, it's not the end of the world, right? It's a game after all. It's there for fun. So in order to try and find your teammate, if you're watching this and you know somebody who you want to pair up with, then on the sign up form, you can just say you want to be with that person, as long as that other player reciprocates, obviously. You can come into the community server, which I'll leave links for in the description, and there's a specific channel where you can ask and try and find teammates, or you can ask around privately if you so wish. If you don't have a teammate, no problem. You can just sign up anyway. And all the players who don't have teammates, then once the sign up period has ended, there'll be a random draw and everyone will be assigned randomly a teammate. So don't panic if you're sitting there going, "Oh, I want to compete, but I don't know who I want to team up with or whatever." Don't worry. Just sign up, don't say that you're with another player, and then you'll be assigned a teammate in due course. So don't worry about that. But if it's someone in particular you want to sign up with, and you want to pair up and be a team throughout the tournament, that's absolutely fine. Just let us know, and we can all, and that'll be no problem. And obviously, you have to come up with an epic team name. That's something else you'll have to do later on. So yeah, as I said, and the way that you organize yourself in terms of who plays what role and stuff, that's admin has nothing to do with that. You two and your team will work out how to do it. And as I said, yeah, all players, regardless of experience, are welcome to compete. So if you're watching this, if you're a player who maybe has played the physical edition of the game and you're looking to transition into the digital edition, or maybe you played the digital edition for a while and you didn't know there was a tournament community or something, and you want to join, by all means, come on in. We're very welcoming. Well, I hope we are anyway. Hopefully we're a helpful and friendly bunch, and we'll love to see you around. So what I'll do is, in the description of this video, I'll leave some links for you. Firstly, you'll see the links to the Nomad Games Discord server, and that's where we normally find friendly matches, and also we can talk to the developers that way. But I've also created a dedicated Fury of Dracula only Discord community, just so then when we're organizing tournaments, we can have more channels and just the organization is a little bit easier that way rather than clogging up the Nomad server with all that information. And also in the community server, there are memes and all the links to the content we create and all that stuff. So that sounds interesting. There's a link for that as well. You have to be in that server to compete at the tournament, by the way. But even if you don't want to compete at the tournament, but you want to be around and talk more strategy and see all the memes and stuff that we create, you're very welcome. So I'll leave the links to those in the description below. And also I'll leave a link to the sign up form. So the sign up form will be there for you as well. So before we go into all that, a couple of really important things. So we've covered the duos bit because obviously we're in a team tournament. You're going to be playing in pairs. So what about the dark calls bit? So those of you who play the digital edition a lot, you might know that there are some house rules. We always play in tournaments, by the way, with all the advanced rules set on. So Hunter free placement is active, rumor tokens, layers, and all of Dracula's powers are active. And before anyone pipes up, maybe if you're not aware of the meta of the digital community, anyone who says, "Oh, doesn't that make Dracula overpowered?" No. We did a tournament recently, well, the World Championship that took place before Christmas, and over 173 games or something like that, Dracula had about 54% win rate, 54% win rate. So no, the game is pretty balanced within our meta. But obviously, there's certain ways that we play which are maybe different to how you'd play around the table. But the rules are the same. But there are a couple of really important house rules that we need to talk about. Firstly, the way we're doing it now inside the community is we use the trail slides first house rule. That's the way that I call it. It's not the way it's written inside the house rules, but once you know what I'm talking about, it'll be easy to identify. The main difference between the physical edition of the game, at least for 3rd and 4th edition, and the standard digital edition is the way that Dracula's phase works. In the physical version of the game, Dracula slides his trail, so all the encounters and locations move to the right, and then some encounters may mature because of that, and then Dracula moves to his next location. In the standard digital edition of the game, that is flipped around the other way. But then, because of the Immortal update, and we're trying to, well, the community and Nomad Games were on the same page in terms of trying to bring the digital edition much closer to what the physical edition of the game is, they implemented a house rule, which means if you so wish, you can play it with the alternative like the physical edition, where Dracula has to slide the trail first, things mature, and then Dracula moves. And we implemented it in the Immortal Invitational last year, and also in the World Championship that's just passed before Christmas at the end of 2024. And it didn't break the game in terms of win rate. It definitely gave Dracula a boost, but there were lots of other changes to the game that also affected win rate. So it's not simple saying that this alone boosted Dracula's win rate, but it definitely makes Dracula more viable, and it also increases the skill ceiling for Dracula, so it's a good change. So we're going to definitely include that house rule in this tournament, as always, but there's going to be another house rule that we're going to include. The only bad thing about the way that we play the game is that Dracula often doesn't get event cards, because Hoax Matures aren't exceedingly common because hunters are normally very efficient in clearing the trail, and also hunters normally don't night supply. So because of that, Dracula often doesn't get many Dracula events. So within the Immortal update, there was an additional house rule, which I called the Enhanced Dark Call house rule. I think in the game it's called something different, or there is maybe more of a description rather than a name. But I'm going to call it Enhanced Dark Call. What this house rule does is it literally enhances Dark Call, the power card that Dracula has that allows him to take 2 damage but then gains 5 encounter cards. With this house rule activated, he takes 2 damage, gains 5 encounter cards, and he also draws the top card, so you can see what card it is, from the event deck. If it's a Hunter card, it gets discarded. If it's a Dracula card, he takes it. And all the chaos that will ensue from that, right? We've never played with this house rule before. I have no idea if it's going to break the game in terms of win rate, because obviously there is a bit of strategy, but it's not just Dracula blindly getting event cards. There's a little bit of strategy there in terms of when Dracula activates it, because if he does it, yeah, he's going to obtain an event card, but then he's standing still for 1 turn, he's taking damage, he's not placing an encounter, so it's not a no cost event card. You want to think of it that way. And also, Dracula doesn't know what event card he's going to get. He could get a Manual Hildesheim or an Earthly Swiftness. Or he could also just equally get a Roadblock or Sensation's Press, right? So it'd be interesting to see what actually happens. Will it add chaos? Yes. And I think that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for the players. Well, maybe not for the hunter player if it's a really powerful event card, but I think it'll be fun for the people watch. It'll be fun for commentators. It'll be fun for the sort of the community, and we'll just see what happens. How often is it played, and how much of an advantage does Dracula get from it, basically. So there we go. So we're going to be. That's where the Dark Calls bit of the name comes from. So we are going to be playing with these 2 house rules. So make sure if you're a new player coming into the digital edition or coming into the community, make sure you become familiar with playing with these house rules. Okay. Normally we don't play with the enhanced Dark Call house rule, but because people will be preparing for the tournament, they very well maybe play with it and see what happens. So that's the deal. So I've rambled on long enough, so we're going to stop. I'm going to stop this video, but that's all the important information. There are also general rules about sort of tournament organization and administration, which is not on this page for obvious reasons. But what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description below to a PDF that contains all of that information. There's lots of information there about tournament etiquette and recording games and contacting your opponents, all that sort of stuff, and what happens if there's a bug in the game, all this sort of stuff. Okay. If you have any doubts and you want to participate, of course, you can come into the community server and ask either myself or one of the other 2 admin, JB Philly or Snuffleupagus, and we'll help you out. Okay, we're always here on hand, and the other experienced members of the community could also help, but admin will have the final word depending on what the situation is. So yeah, in the description below, you'll find the link to that PDF for the general tournament information. I will leave the sign-up form for this tournament. So if you're watching this on the day that this has been released, then it means sign-ups are live. And they'll be live until the 23rd of February, more or less the end of the day on the 23rd of February. Maybe once I wake up on the 24th of February, I'll stop the sign-ups. Okay, and then that'll give administration just under a week for us to start the tournament at the beginning of March, the 1st of March. Okay, so that's the deal. So if you're interested, you can sign up using the form. If you don't want to quite sign up yet, but you want to come into the community and say hi and chat to people and then sign up closer to the deadline, that's fine. You can do that. So I'll leave the links to the Nomad Games Discord server and the tournament/community server that we have as well. Make sure that if you want to compete, make sure you're familiar with how Discord works and you're able, independently able to set up private messages with people to chat to them, to try to organize games and just understand how you can work your way around a server. If you have any doubts, send me a message and I will help you out. And yeah, basically the tournament will go on. We don't know where the tournament is going to last, how long it's going to last, just because we don't know how many people are going to sign up. Last year we had 6 teams, so we ended up doing it that everyone played every other team twice. So it went on for 10 weeks in total just because of the numbers. If we have more people signing up and therefore more teams, then maybe everyone will only play each other once. I'm not sure. It just depends. Okay, but I can guarantee that at the beginning of June, the tournament will not be, ongoing. It will be finished by then. Okay, so, you know what time period you have to dedicate for the tournament. It might finish sooner. It just depends. So the way we're going to try and do it is everyone will play an average of 1v1 games per week. So it's not a huge commitment in terms of time. So it should be less than 2 hours per week, right? We normally say that tournament games should last about 90 minutes. We need to try and stick to that limit. There might be, depending on the numbers and scheduling and stuff, you might have to play 2 games in a week, but that will be a rarity. In most of the game weeks, you only have to play 1 game. So that's letting you know what is expected. And yeah, basically it's just gonna be a round robin league where every team's gonna be playing everybody else at least once, maybe twice, depending on numbers, and then the top 2 teams will play in a final match, and that's it. Simple as that. So I'm going to shut up because I wanted to make this video way shorter than it is, but never mind. I've rambled on long enough. If you're interested, please do sign up. We'll love to see you over there. And if you don't want to sign up, but you just want to be inside the community because you're interested in what we're doing and maybe you might sign up for a future tournament, then just join the link, join the Discord servers anyway. We'd love to see you over there. Play a friendly game with us and all that good stuff. And yeah, if you are competing, great. We'll see you over there. If not, there'll be as much footage as possible from this tournament will be recorded by myself and all the other content creators. I'll leave links to them in the description below as well. There'll be live streams. There will be normal recordings of our perspectives as we're playing. There'll be commentary, all that good stuff. So do come and watch the videos, comment, join the live stream chats and stuff. We'd love to see you over there. And yeah, that's it, folks. So I hope you're having an amazing week. I hope this announcement has given you, lots of excitement. And I guess I'll see you very soon for the first game of Duos and Dark Calls. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching. Any questions, leave them in the comments or send me a message on Discord. And bye for now. Take care.